Hello everyone, very good evening. I hope I'm audible and visible. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? We have a very important session today again on CUET. It's good that the exam got postponed, so we have more time to prepare now. I hope you guys can see me and hear me clearly. We have a lot of important things to cover today, guys. We're going to start with some RC passages and then move ahead with some grammar questions. Okay? So I hope I am audible and visible. Can you guys just help me with a thumbs up or a yes or no in the comment box so that we can start? Right, so we're going to start with the RC. Let me just share my screen with you. And when it comes to CUET, most expected or the most important questions, and specifically dealing with the reading comprehension passages, right? So, what is expected? Any RC would have an introduction, it would have the body, and then it would have the passage, right? It would have something around the conclusion. So any RC which is given to you, it's more like a movie watch, right? When I say movie watch, is it's like you know they give you a promo, right? They expect that you should be able to understand the introduction which is being built through that promo, and post that once you have an understanding like what is the movie about, you start anticipating कि अच्छा ये मूवी पूरा इसके बारे में है, ठीक है, मूवी में कुछ ये सब चलने वाला है, राइट? दिस इज व्हाट यू गेट टू नो. So similarly, when we talk about any RC, okay, when we talk about any reading comprehension, it is similar to that. It is similar to that, where you have a context being built up. That context is built up by any social science passage, any business passage, and you are supposed to answer some questions given at the back, right? So similar is the case which you can expect here. We're going to practice some questions today, some passages where you'll be given something from social science, something from the previous CUET exams, and you will be asked to solve the questions on the basis of the passage which is given to you, right? So this is what we have for today. Let me just present my screen again and we get started. In the meantime, if you have any questions regarding the preparation, regarding the strategy, guys, please feel free to ask. Okay, so we're going to talk about the most important question types which we have for RC today. I hope my screen is visible. We're going to start with social science passages. Okay, so this is the first passage with just one paragraph given to you. This is the size of the passage you can expect. I want you to go through it very quickly. It would have an introduction, the first few lines. Then the body would comprise of something around what is stated in the theory or maybe the theorist of modernization, the first few lines. The body will include some of the examples, some of the tone rhetoric to what is stated in the first few lines, and then the opinion of the author in the last few lines, right? This is what is expected for you to anticipate, right? So quickly go through it, take a couple of minutes, and give me what you understand from the passage. Then we have some good questions to practice. Let me show you the questions as well. Okay, so these are the questions which we'll be covering. Please go through the passage and then we discuss it. Hi, Tulsi. How are you? How's your preparation for CVT on? Are you facing any challenges with any of the question types, or do you want to discuss anything specific other than what we're discussing here today? Difficulty in passages. All right. Are you able to get what is there in the passage here? Are you able to understand at least, first few lines, what this refer to? And then in the last paragraph, what is the author intending to say? So, if we talk about any reading comprehension, right? Any reading comprehension comes up into three sections. One is the introduction, where the author starts sharing the claim. Claim means it could be X is better than Y, right? For some reasons mentioned, X is better than Y. Then there'll be body. Body means they'll have some examples, some analogies quoted, where the tone gets rhetorical, repetitive, and last of all, we have the conclusion, where the author chips in his opinion. Like I showed you that RC, you know, uh, for example, BJP is better than Congress. So I'm giving you the reasons. The transport system became better. The image of the country was highlighted and it became like better in the international space. So given to these reasons, we can say that BJP is better than Congress, right? Similarly, here in the passage, what they would be expecting is that you understand how entire context gets developed, right? So you need to understand what is the modernist view talk about here. The theories of modernization in underdeveloped countries has defined this process as one of the passing from traditional authority derived from long-standing custom and authority of kinship leaders. What is this kinship leaders? How can we relate to all of it? Just try figuring out what the passage talks about, and then we'll be discussing it. Poetry passages, we will discuss them, Tulsi. Nothing to worry on that part. Let me know if you guys are done reading. We can discuss it. Please let me know if we can quickly go through it together, guys. If we are good to go, yeah. While reading passage, if I don't understand the meaning of any word or if I understood it, how do I deal with that? So, Tulsi, there's one thing called contextual meaning, right? It's important to understand that passages might not always give you everything as it is, you know, meant via dictionary, right? So sometimes what they give you is that they expect that you should be able to comprehend the contextual meaning of the words or the terminology is being used rather than using the conventional meaning of that word as per the dictionary meanings. So that is what is expected from you, that you should be able to figure out one, the meaning on the basis of the context, two, vocabulary questions. Heshant, vocabulary questions we'll be dealing with that. Don't worry about that. We'll also do that. आज थोड़ा सा कुछ आरसी के क्वेश्चंस भी हैं. Vocabulary भी we'll cover. Don't worry. We'll try to cover it today itself if time permits. Abhi, shall we go through the passage together, guys, or do you want to try the questions first? Maybe I'll explain the passage to you, and then you can check out. Okay. It says a theorist of modernization in underdeveloped countries. Right. So what we're talking about here is theorist of modernization in underdeveloped countries has defined this process as one of the passing from traditional authority. It's like something that comes from the traditional authority, derived from long-standing custom and the authority of kinship leaders to legal rational authority, based on procedures specifically established for particular goals. No doubt the scheme works well enough in categorizing some societies, but how is one to classify the Igbo society of southeastern Nigeria? Okay. So, theorist of modernization in underdeveloped countries has defined this process as one of the passing from traditional authority. It's like something coming out of traditional authority, derived from long-standing custom and the authority of kinship leaders to legal rational authority based on procedures specifically established for particular goals, like specifically mentioned for specific goals. No doubt the scheme works well enough in categorizing some societies, but how is one to classify the Igbo society of southeastern Nigeria? In pre-colonial Igbo society, village decisions were reached in general meetings. So if they are coming up with the village decisions, that would generally happen in the general meetings which are there, and formalized by striking the ground with OFO, a staff possessed by the head of a kinship group. This might seem to fit the theorist's model, but the IBO altered the procedure whenever appropriate for instance, if the senior kinship head forgot his OFO, any other OFO could be used. The IBO too freely revised any customary procedures in order to pursue trade of flexibility that served them well in the new capitalist economy introduced by colonialism. If this theorist is to be consistent, he must concede that IBO were modern before the first colonists stepped ashore. So, entire context of the passage actually refers to the IBO too freely revised any customary procedures in order to pursue trade of flexibility that served them well in the new capitalist economy introduced by colonialism. So there was one thing called colonialism. What is colonialism? So if you're going through the passage, you can take your time. That's okay. Colonialism का मतलब था एक time था जब everything was being driven by that particular colony, right? People were following a certain structure, certain rules, and everybody was just following it like a scapegoat kind of an activity that if we go away from what the general crowd is doing or carrying the school of thought, we would be somewhere outcasted or we'll be questioned, we'll be considered a different society, different community altogether. So people used to follow that colonialism kind of a structure when it came to any generic belief, right? And if they were somewhere questioning it, going against it, that would be like considering these people as an outsider. So, considering all these facts, it says that if this theorist is to be consistent, he must concede that IBO were modern before the first colonists stepped ashore. Right? What you want to say is that it's not that they were very conventional, they were modern. Yeah. Colonial rule, dominated system, that sort of thing we're talking about here. So is the passage, is the entire thing clear, guys? Any questions, anything you feel that we should discuss before we jump on to the questions? Or Tulsi, should I give you time enough to absorb the passage? Just think around what can be the summary of the passage, guys, before I take you to the questions. Yeah, we move to the questions, let's see, but I want you to figure out the summary quickly. 30 seconds, write down one liner for the entire passage. Yes, Tulsi, are we ready? Can you give me one liner quickly? What is the passage about? Yeah, help me with the one liner for the entire passage. What do the theorists of modernization say? How is it related to the colonial system? And what eventually happened? Like, no doubt the scheme works well enough in categorizing some societies, but how is the one to classify the Igbo society of southeastern Nigeria and pre-colonial Igbo society? Village decisions were reached in general meetings and formalized by striking the ground with an OFO, a staff meetings presided by the head of a kinship group. This might seem to fit in the theorist's model, but the IBO altered the procedure whenever appropriate, for instance. Like they were following a certain rule, but whenever needed, they would tweak it as per their requirements, their necessities. And this might seem to fit the theorist's model, but the IBO altered the procedure whenever appropriate. For instance, if the senior kinship head forgot his OFO for any other OFO could be used, IBO too freely revised any customary procedures in order to pursue trade, a flexibility that served them well in the new capitalist economy. Now let's move to the questions and see if we can figure out the answers. Quickly have a look at the question, guys. Yes, guys. Author's primary concern in the passage is to what? Describe a Nigerian society? Of course not. Reveal a shortcoming in a theory? Maybe. Show how one form of authority gives way to another. Explain the interplay of colonialism and capitalism, or does it explore proof that Igbo society is modern? A and E, of course, are not the answers. Tulsi, how can you say that it's describing a Nigerian society? It could be either it's talking a drawback, a shortcoming in a theory, or it could be how A needs to be. So option number C might be the right answer. Please give me the right answer, Tulsi. What is it and why? Yeah, do you want to refer it once again, Tulsi? I think that would help. Just check it out once. It's true that the passages are going to be tough, but then we have to solve them. So if I try to eliminate, of course, describing a Nigerian society makes no sense to me. Okay, so I have good reasons to eliminate A. A is something we can eliminate for sure. Right? If we look at B, reveal a shortcoming in a theory, we can still hold on to B. Show how one form of uh, authority gives way to another, maybe we can also hold on to C. Explain the interplay of colonialism and capitalism. How is colonialism related to capitalism? So that's something which we have to take care of. Prove that Igbo society is modern. Are we trying to prove that X is modern? No, right? So of course, we can't refer to E. Interplay of colonialism and D also can be eliminated. We have show how one form of authority gives way to another. So out of B and C, it's talking about Southeastern Nigerian, how classification of Igbo society is done. But then it says in pre-colonial Igbo society, village decisions were reached. And then this might seem to fit in the theorist model, but the Igbo altered this procedure whenever appropriate. For instance, Igbo too freely revised any customary procedures. It's like how one form of authority gives way to another is a better choice, right? Going with option number C is the right choice. Right? Is the correct answer. Let's check another question. I know it's hard, but then you have to solve it. Legal rational authority. So where is it mentioned? The first paragraph itself, like the first few sentences. Legal rational authority. Right? Here it is. Legal rational authority based on procedures specifically established for particular goals. What can be inferred? Is it like a procedure is adaptable? It's acceptable if it is not forbidden by law? A leader has unlimited authority within an area determined by custom, or practice is correct if it is one that has always been used in the past. It should be only one, right? Is the only option. So A is the right answer. Since here we had it, legal rational authority. Okay. This is where the question came from. Let's have a look at the last question. Author states that the categorization used by theorists of modernization is what? Author would state that the categorization used by theorists of modernization is what, guys? Again, no big deal. Just the options have to be tackled and eliminated. Applicable in some cases, totally without merit, universally valid, incapable of being empirically tested, relevant only to societies that were never colonized. So start with elimination and give me the answer. C nahi hoga. We're not talking about anything being universally valid. Totally without merit is also something. Being empirically tested, no, not that they could not be tested. Relevant only in societies that were never colonized, so E is the right answer. That is what the modernization thought. Okay? So that's how we look at the passages. We make sure that whatever we read, one, we summarize it, two, we know the structure. This was just one paragraph, but in your real exam, it's going to be more than one paragraph, which we'll be practicing going forward in the sessions. And the questions have to be, again, go back to the passage, a bit of to and fro, but get the right answer rather than just assuming the answers to be there. Okay? So we'll be keeping it till here, guys. Thank you so very much for joining in. And please join us tomorrow again at the same time. We'll be connecting for another session for CUET itself. So make sure that you attend the session, guys. Thank you so much and have a great evening.